Welcome to the Psychic Side here on the A1R Psychic Radio Network at Moonstruck TV, Earth's #1 psychic radio network. I'm John Cappello, and this is the Psychic Side. So we want to welcome all of you to the show. This is our 6th show, and we're delighted to be here. And we're taking you through a journey of self-discovery, learning about how to become psychic. And you might notice we have a little bit new background here today. And the reason is because we have a sponsor. And so our sponsor is Miracles of Joy. And they are a metaphysical store, a gift and crystal shop in Louisville, Texas. And we are delighted that they are our sponsor. And so you might see over there, if you go to miraclesofjoy.org, and you decide to buy something, use that PS-0223 promo code, and you get 25% off your entire order. So if you need some crystals or some other metaphysical supplies, be sure to go to that website. So I'm delighted that Joy Koff from Miracles of Joy is our sponsor, and we hope to have her on the program sometime soon. But what we want to do is we want to continue our discussion of psychic ability and how to tap into it. And last week we talked a little bit about our first psychic test. And so I want to kind of build upon that if we can. And before we do, I want to just say thank you to the people in Houston. I was at Indigo Moons and Pixie's Intent. They're 2 metaphysical stores in Houston. We just had a delightful time, and it was a very good weekend. So thank you very much for everything that you did for me. So when you talk about psychic tests, last week I said that one of the ways you can test your psychic field is by having someone maybe get into your personal space. And if you've ever had someone get too close to you and you go, please stay away, it's just kind of a sign that someone got in that field that we all use to sense things from other people from beyond the physical. And what we wind up doing is we wind up pushing that space out, and it's kind of a net, and it's kind of like feelers, and it relates to different parts of the body as well. So we have that psychic net that is from our solar plexus and from our third eye and from different areas where our psychic abilities are activated. So today we want to further the idea of the psychic test. And one of the ways that I am able to determine psychic ability is by taking different impressions that you may have received. So many times people say, well, I get a psychic impression and it is overwhelming. I have no idea what is trying to be imparted to me. And that's common. That's happened to me. So what you have to do is you have to get a little journal, and I had one here a while ago. But you have to have a journal, and you start writing down these psychic impressions that might have overwhelmed you. And you just sit and you kind of meditate for just a moment, and you look at them, and you start to evaluate that overwhelming impression. And the first thing that you do is you look at that impression, or you consider how that impression makes you feel. Okay, and you write down that emotion. How did that make me feel? Did it make me uncomfortable? Did I have joy around it? What did it do to me? And write that down. And then you say, did I see anything around it? Was there a color around it? Was there an image around it? What was around it? Was it just something that just kind of like a flash of light? What was in that flash of light? Those sorts of things. And so if you have the time to dwell on something after the fact, you can evaluate whether or not it had another meaning, or if there was an image in there or a fragment of an image. And after that, then you say, did I hear anything about that? Was there any kind of noise? and was there a voice there, or what was there, and if there was, then you say, well, what kind of noise was that, and how did that noise make me feel? And those are the sorts of things that I'd like for you to do, because if you can do that, you start to understand a little bit about the energy from beyond the physical that your soul captured. And that's the definition of psychic ability, the soul's ability to capture energy from beyond the physical. And it captures it in the form of feelings, and in the form of images, in the form of audio impressions, and so on and so forth. And we want to be able to acknowledge those things. Now, I know that there's a lot of psychic tests on the internet, and you can take other psychic tests on paper. And as I told you in the very first show, do everything. Do what works for you. Do whatever you feel you need to do. But from my perspective, we are working with your psychic abilities on an individual basis. And so what we want you to do is we want you to get that journal, and we want you to write down those psychic impressions. And then it's important to use the language of the psychic. You can't learn anything unless the lingo. So learn the lingo. Learn the lingo of a psychic, and the lingo of a psycho is really psychic and psycho is really pretty simple. It is I feel, I saw, I heard, I knew, I smelled, I touched, or I just tasted. I tasted an impression, and all of these impressions come from beyond the physical, because there's no tangible or no empirical stimulus to make those things occur. So this is what I want to impart to you today, that each psychic impression gives you a little bit more perspective, or each psychic sense, because as you discover how an impression made you feel, what you saw about it, so on and so forth, and then you start to develop a perspective of it. Okay, you may not be able to do this immediately. You may have to take some time to practice it, but you will start to notice patterns. You'll start to notice that, I've written down, I felt more than I saw, or I saw more than I heard. Okay, and as you start to do that, you start to notice you have a psychic profile. And so by doing this, these are things that are helpful in your own psychic development, because you'll learn that you're strongest in one sense, and that sense, for me, can be like a door opener. Okay, so if you have a door opener, then what that does is that opens the opportunities for your other psychic senses to come in, and they further give you information about that impression. So it's a wonderful way of looking at it from my perspective, of course, but it is something that I think that can be helpful to you as you're learning about your own abilities. Because, so many times I hear from people, I used to be really good at this, and then it scared me, or I gave it up, or I started to ignore all of those impressions I was getting from beyond the physical because it just didn't serve me. And I didn't have the time to evaluate those things. So what I'm suggesting that you do is, if these things are coming back into your life, for you to get that journal and to start writing down some things. And these are things that my book, Soul Exercises for the Open Mind, discusses. And that's why I hope that you will take this approach. And it's like I say, if there's another person's approach that is better for you, or is better suited for you, fine. But if you learn these basics, if you learn a little bit about how you felt about things, or what you saw about them, or heard, or just knew about them, then you're going to be able to develop some confidence. You're going to be able to trust your psychic senses a little bit more. And it's a good thing because you you have to get more familiar with how things work with you. Now, also, Miracles of Joy, by the way, has a QR code that we're going to show to you here in just a moment. There it is. And if you want to use that QR code to go to their website immediately, you can do that and use that promo code. We want to keep Miracles of Joy with us and bring Joy on to speak to us, because Joy is a pretty good psychic in her own right. And so maybe she'll talk to us about her own abilities, because you'll really like her. She's a very, very good person. So so getting back to our topic, I just want to help you understand that by testing yourself and learning who you are is important, and not worry about what other people do or what other people's profile is all about. Because what happens is once you learn a little bit about what your psychic profile is, what your strengths are, you can develop the other ones, okay? And you can get stronger with your other psychic abilities. And that's what I have learned over the years. So in the future, what you will do is you'll focus maybe not on your psychic feelings, which, by the way, is what most of us are. Most of us are more in the psychic feeling area than other people. But for me, I've worked on all of them. So what we want to do is we want to get ready to learn a little bit more about ourselves. And I want to tell you a little bit about next week's program, because we only have a few seconds left. Next week's program is all about clairsentience. So I know you're excited, I am. And we'll talk a little bit about that one specific psychic sense, and we'll get you to learn a little bit more about yourself and how to develop clairsentience. So thank you so much for joining me today. We only have a few minutes. I know some people have asked if we can make the show longer, but not right now. We'll work on all those things. We just got to get ourselves started here. But I want to thank you all for joining me today here on the Psychic Side, here on the A1R Radio Network and Psychic Radio Network and Moonstruck TV. I look forward to seeing you next week and give you some more tips about how to learn to be a psychic. So take care and go to my website, johncappello.com. Take care. Bye-bye.